Imagine this. You're standing on a muddy field, the smell of iron and smoke in the air, thousands of men shouting, drums pounding, arrows darkening the sky. In just a moment, two armies will crash together, and you're right in the middle of it. The question is, how do you survive? Today, we're diving into the brutal, bloody, and surprisingly strategic world of medieval warfare. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it would take to walk away alive from a medieval battle. Preparation before the battle. The first rule of surviving a medieval battle is this: don't even step onto the battlefield unprepared. A knight or soldier's chances of survival often started days or even weeks before the fight. Let's break down what mattered most. Armor, forget Hollywood shining suits of steel for everyone. Most fighters didn't have that. Knights had plate armor, but many soldiers wore chainmail, leather, or even just padded cloth. The key? Mobility. Armor too heavy meant you were slow. Too light, and you were basically naked. Survivors found the balance, strong enough to stop a blade, light enough to move. Weapons, swords looked cool, but spears and polearms killed far more men. A sword was usually a backup weapon. If you wanted to survive, you carried a weapon that kept enemies at a distance. Fitness and food. It might sound boring, but being fed and hydrated was life or death. A tired, starving man collapsed after a few minutes of fighting. Armies often lost more men to hunger and disease before battle even started. The survivors were the ones who had the energy to swing their weapons and keep standing. So survival wasn't just about bravery. It was about preparation, surviving the first charge. Now picture this. Horns blow, and suddenly the ground shakes. Either cavalry is charging at you, or your commander just ordered you to charge. Here's what you'd need to know. Hold formation. The shield wall or spear wall was your lifeline. If you broke ranks and ran, you'd be cut down instantly. Staying shoulder to shoulder with your comrades gave you the best chance. Alone, you were dead. Together, you were a wall. Arrows and missiles, archers fired in volleys, raining down death. The smart survivors kept shields angled upward or hugged behind cover. Charging headlong into arrows was suicide. Waiting for the right moment, then advancing, kept you alive. Don't be the hero. The battlefield punished heroes. If you ran ahead to chase glory, you'd find yourself surrounded. Survival meant discipline, patience, and listening to your commander's signals. The first charge was chaos. The survivors? They were the ones who didn't panic. Close combat survival. This is where most movies get it wrong. Sword fights weren't long, elegant duels. They were short, brutal, and exhausting. Here's how you'd survive. Target weak points, armor was tough. You weren't hacking through plate steel. Survivors aimed for gaps, under the arms, behind the knees, at the neck. Even a blunt strike to the helmet could knock someone unconscious. Keep moving. Standing still was a death sentence. The smartest fighters moved, dodged, shoved enemies away. Even knights tried to avoid being pinned down. Use the terrain. Mud, ditches, fallen horses. Battles weren't fought on clean movie sets. Survivors knew how to use terrain to their advantage. A man who stumbled often didn't get back up. Mercy was rare. Knocking an enemy down didn't always mean you were safe. Sometimes it was kill or be killed. Prisoners were sometimes taken, but more often, finishing blows ended fights quickly. Close combat wasn't glamorous. It was desperate. Survivors weren't the strongest. They were the most aware. Psychology and morale. Here's something people forget. Surviving wasn't just about weapons and armor. It was about your mind. Fear, terror, could kill faster than swords. Men froze, dropped their weapons, or ran. Those who survived learned to master fear, or at least hide it. Rallying points. Survivors always stayed near banners, horns, or captains. These weren't just symbols, they were lifelines. Losing sight of your side meant you were lost, easy prey. Fatigue. Most battles didn't last 10 minutes. They went on for hours. Keeping your breath steady, Conserving energy, even taking short breaks when you could, that kept men alive. Survivors weren't always the bravest. They were the ones who didn't burn out in the first half hour. Morale was contagious. If your side believed you were winning, you fought harder. If your side broke, even the strongest fighter could be cut down in the rout. After the battle, let's say you've survived the clash, the arrows, the mud, and the chaos. You're alive, but you're not safe yet. The rout. When one side broke and ran, the killing didn't stop. Pursuing cavalry cut men down as they fled. Survivors often dropped heavy gear and sprinted for forests, rivers, or castles. The faster you could disappear, the better. Wounds. Even a small cut could kill you later. Infection was a silent killer. Without antibiotics, survivors cleaned wounds with wine, honey, or boiling water. Painful, but sometimes effective. The real survivors knew the battle wasn't over until they healed. Looting and ransom. If you were captured alive and wealthy, you might actually survive. Ransom was a business. But if you were poor, you were more likely to be executed or enslaved. Status often decided your fate as much as skill. So even after the battlefield went quiet, survival meant staying sharp. Conclusion. So how do you survive a medieval battle? You prepare your armor, food, and mind. You hold the line in the charge. You fight smart, not flashy, in close combat. You master your fear and protect your morale. And when the dust settles, you escape, heal, and pray you live to see another day. The truth is, medieval battles were brutal, terrifying, and often decided by luck as much as skill. Most men didn't survive, but those who did, they carried the scars for life. If you enjoyed this journey into the chaos of medieval warfare, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps the channel more than you know. And if you want more deep dives into medieval history, from castles to knights to the real lives of peasants, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. Thanks for watching, and remember, surviving history is the first step to understanding it.